Welcome back to my channel in searching for the truth on whether the world we live in is flat or a globe. I've done many observations and I just wanted to share with you another one. If you watched my last video, these are some pictures that I said I was going to break down and kind of go through. And so what I did is I went across the lake again and I used three different cameras. I've got a Canon camera that I bought like 10 years ago. It's got a 75 to 300 millimeter zoom lens on it. I've also got my iPhone with my telescope, and I've also got a Panasonic, just a cheap little $100 camera with a decent zoom, take pictures and videos on. So what I did is I went out to the lake again, and what I did is I went right here first. This first picture I took was from right here, this location. I zoom out, I can show you where I'm at. Okay, looking across to the building over here. I'll zoom back in and show that in a minute. But I'm right here, and you can see that my cursor, the elevation, is 4590. So I'm literally 100 feet above the water level, right? And that's what this picture is. And so 100 feet, I should expect to be able to see the dike, the building, all sorts. I should be able to see my horizon is much further than 6 miles. So I took this picture and just wanted to show what I can see from that far away at 100 feet above the water. And I just took a zoomed out picture just to prove that you can see the water, the beach down here, the trees. Again, you've got the building back here and the dike. Okay, so that's all that is showing. Okay, from 100 feet above. So then what I did is I drove down on the beach and actually drove right out here on the dirt, set up my telescope, and set up my camera. So here's where I took the picture from, or this is where I was taking my next observations from, which is from about this point, this location right here. Obviously I'm not in the water, the lake is a little bit lower than it is shown here. This is pretty flat. You can walk out here and not even be knee deep. So anyway, this is where the second location is taken from, which is right here. Okay, and so then I took my telescope out and I said, let's take a picture. And what do I see? Wow, interesting. Look at that. It is being blocked, right? There's the building, there's the roof, and the rest of it I can't see. Just a couple different pictures of that looking through the telescope, and I said, interesting. I've seen that before. Okay. So I then stood up. Okay, first, this is through the telescope, right? I lifted this telescope up. I extended the legs, so it's now at about 5.5 feet, and I get to see more, right? It's like, okay, I can see more of the building. And I see the reflection of the building here. Interesting, okay? There's kind of a video going through it, and this is what I see, which matches this. So right here, this is my Panasonic camera that can zoom in and take video. I'm just standing there taking a picture, looking across, right? I zoom in, I'm standing again 6 feet up. So that matches is what I've seen, what I showed here through the telescope at about, it's really more like 50 inches, so it's 52 inches I think is what it really was. But that matches what I'm seeing here through the telescope as here just standing up looking at it, because I'm a 6 foot tall person, so it's under 6 feet, it's 5 foot something. That matches pretty close. You can see again, you've got this line here and a mirage, okay? A reflection. You're seeing this reflection on the water, seeing half the building. So I said, let's drop it down to telescope level. So I did that, took this picture, and I pretty much took the same picture here as I did here through the telescope, right? So those pictures are pretty much the same. This is through my Panasonic, just zoomed in. It's blurry, I understand. 6.5 miles, almost 7 miles away. 6.9 miles away, actually, to be exact. So I get the same picture, right? So I drop my camera even lower, and I'm about a foot off the ground. Okay, and now I can see the building. The other parts of the roof are pretty much gone. I can't see that anymore. I can only see the tower. And then I drop it even lower and put it literally on the ground. I know it's really hard to see, but this is the actual tower, and you got the mirage here, the line, and here's the tower. Which, if you look at all the calculations, you do all the calculations here. 3 feet, 1 foot, 18 feet, 1 foot, I'm actually 6.91 miles. 6.5 is how far away the dike is. But 6.9 miles, 21 feet, 0, 31 feet. So that kind of matches what I'm seeing here when I drop the camera down, right? If I go 3 feet, 15 feet, if I go 5 feet, it's 11 feet. Again, that is kind of matching what I was showing here when I took these pictures. Okay, but what was interesting is I took some more pictures just I was out there just showing the kind of the mirage that you get out on the lake looking across the lake. You can see this boat out here, and there's a wave runner out there. Again, I'm 6 feet up, but what's interesting is you see this mirage, okay? The boats are kind of on top of the mirage, which I don't know how far those are, so I'm not going to even speculate. Whatever, they could be within 3 miles and be fine, right? What's interesting is this building here. These are distinctive buildings you can see. So you can see the line is right here. This is my mirage line. It reflects down. You can see the building upside down here. You can see the tree coming down like this. You can see this white building like this, the shrubs. Okay? You see this mirage. Again, the mirage. You can see it again. What's interesting is all of a sudden, I'm out there taking pictures, and all of a sudden the mirage disappeared. Right? Now I can see further. I can see the grass and the dirt and stuff right at the lake's ledge. I haven't moved locations. I haven't done anything. These two pictures are 7 minutes apart. 7 minutes, I can show you that. But this building here, where'd the mirage go? Remember that? Where'd that go? What happened to it? If we look at... we'll look at that later. But anyway, it's 7 minutes apart. The mirage disappeared, and I said, huh, that's interesting. Well, if the mirage disappeared, what can I see now? So I went back, and I said, well, let's look. I'm still 3 feet above the ground. And I looked at, and I zoomed in and saw that picture, and I said, huh, that's interesting. Now I can see this dike all the way across here. I can see the building. Again, I'm at 3 feet. If you remember, 3 feet was this picture. Sorry. Right here. That's the same picture. Okay. As that. Same height. Same picture. Just minutes later when the mirage disappeared. How can I see that? How can that be different at that? Where did the mirage go? I mean, that's my question is, at one point I can see a mirage and I think the building is down below the horizon, but then the next minute it's not, and I can see the whole thing. A lot of you may think it's refraction. I get refraction, but that's not happening here, okay? Again, so then I dropped my telescope, or my camera down, and put it about a foot off the water, and you can still see everything here. Still see the whole building. Then I dropped it even lower, zoomed in a little better, and you can still see the dike. Now here I'm less than a foot off the water. Now if I'm a foot off the water, 1 foot, that's 21 feet at 6.9 miles. 21 feet. That means that dike actually is 6.5 miles. The dike is 18 feet. That means this dike right here needs to be 18 feet tall. I know it's not that tall because I've been there and measured it, and I'll show you that in here in just a minute. But again, so I took these are the pictures now through the telescope with my iPhone. Okay, again, remember 6 feet up, just taking pictures. Then I dropped it down at 3 feet. Again, it's just kind of showing the mirage that you see. This is, again, at 50 inches. This is up high with the legs extended. And then I drop them back down. Okay, legs back down, so it's 34 inches tall. Okay, that's what I'm looking at here. Here's my telescope. This really isn't that far from here out to there. This is still kind of wet and muddy, so I didn't want to drive out there or walk out there. So I'm really not even that much higher than the actual lake level. If people are really wondering if that's, well, you're much higher than the water level, I'm really not. This is muddy and wet still, but I didn't want to go walk out in it. But again, now I put it at 3 feet, and I can see the dike through the telescope. I thought this was my view at 3 feet. But now, this is my view. Same exact location, didn't move the telescope, didn't do anything different. The only thing different, later in the day, first picture was like at 11:40, the next picture, this one here, was like at 12:40. It was an hour later. My speculation is the sun being more directly overhead, I wasn't getting every reflection on the water blocking my view. Because it stayed like this for a couple hours before the reflection then came back and I couldn't see it again. But anyway, I just wanted to show that this building, you can clearly see the dike, which if you come over here on Google Earth, on Utah Lake, this is the Provo Marina over here. Here's the dike, and here's that building. Okay, you can see how the building is 20 feet. Okay, 4502, 4520. The top of the tower is 45-45-ish. So the tower is about 40 feet. But off the water, okay, it may be 55 feet, right? The top of the tower, 50. I'm going to say 55 feet. I'll give you that. Okay. But if you notice, you can see these pavilions, where people can park their trucks and camping and stuff like that, which you can actually see in this picture if you look closely. You can see the pavilions. I do a video here. You can see people on the dike, lights. I don't know if that's a boat or what. You'll see here just 1 second as I walk over, show you where my telescope is located. Drop it down. So you can see now, just looking through here, looking at the dike going across here, you can see the pavilions and stuff in the background. At 6.91 miles, you should be able to see maybe the very tip tops of those pavilions, if being able to see them at all. Right? So I took quite a few pictures just showing that's clearly the dike. There's no doubt about it that that's the dike going across. So I'm sorry, yes, it looks bent in here because of the lens on the telescope. There's nothing to do with the curve of the Earth, by the way. Again, just showing 32, 33, 34. So I'm below 3 feet, but my calculation, I use 3 feet just for, I mean, if you want me to go down lower, I can, but I'm not going to. Anyway, 15 feet at 3. So at 15 feet, I should not be able to see that dike, right? And how do I know how tall that dike is? How do I know I shouldn't be able to see it? Well, because I went over there and measured it one day. So here's the dike, here's a dock, and I said, oh, that's a perfect place to go measure, because that's the top of the dike, okay, and it drops down. So I drove over there on top of the dike, and you see where my truck's parked. I took a tape measure, said, oh, 6 feet down to the rocks, right? Well, okay, well, that's 6 feet. Well, how much further is it? I took a video of it, whatever. So then I got a board, and I placed the board down. Okay, so underneath, so I can measure really how far, and then measure down how far the board goes. Okay, the board is less than 2 feet. Okay, 2 feet. So I'm going to say, just for whatever, it's 8 feet tall. 6 feet plus 8 feet sits down into the water, or 6 feet plus 2 feet is 8 feet. So that dike cannot be any taller than 8 feet. So at 6 miles away, I should not be able to see this dike from my location at 3 feet up, because I should have to see 12 or whatever, however many feet that was, right? And actually it's 6.5, because that's how far the dike is away. That's 12 feet. Okay? So that's 4 to 5 feet taller. The dike would have to be 4 to 5 feet taller than what I can actually see in this picture. I mean, I can see the dike, right? Remember that? here. And again, I just took some pictures on up there. You can see here's the building in the background. I'm on the dike here. So you can see the building's a little bit further away than the dike. Here's how tall the building really is. It's 55 feet or so. You can see these windows are 3 foot tall windows, so that's 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, how tall this roof is about 9, maybe 10 feet to the top of that. So we know that this building isn't much taller than what Google Earth is saying it is. If you come down here and say Google Earth, it says 20 feet, remember 20 feet, 45 feet. The edge of the roof, you kind of do this, is 13 down to 1, so it's about 10 feet. So I know that Google Earth is actually doing it pretty well, doing that right. Sorry, this is getting long. I need to wrap it up here. Anyway, I want to take one last look at something and show you that, again, this is through now my Canon camera, down right at the water level. You can clearly see the dike, the whole building, the pavilions back behind. You can see the pavilions over here, people, their trucks and stuff. This now is almost literally at the water level. With my Canon camera, you can still see the dike here. You can still see those, and again, that's 8 feet tall. If I'm 1 foot off, that should be 18 feet. It should be 10, so I'm seeing 10 more feet at least, because then I'm even seeing more of the dike. So I'm seeing more than 10 feet, right? I'm seeing the full 8 feet here. So I said, well, it's still a good day. It's still, there's no mirage left. I'm going to go one other location. Again, I'm just showing right down at the water level. So then I go across the lake further. So my other line was this red line I was just looking. Now I go over to where this yellow line is looking. And I come clear over here, and this location here. Okay, I walk out onto this, and I can see that. That is now 11 miles, 11.15 miles to that building. Okay, so if I say 11.15 miles, and I am 3 feet off the water, that should be 54 feet. 54 feet, right? So the top of that tower, remember the top of this was 45, so the top of the tower is about 55 feet off the water. But if you zoom in on this, you can still see everything. Here's pavilions over here, trucks or whatever. I know it's really blurry and hard to see, but I'm now looking at 11 miles. It's really hard to see 11 miles unless you have a very spectacular, awesome zoom. Anyway, you can still see the whole building here. Here's the roof that goes across. You can't see it over here because other stuff is obstructing it, right? There's a tree or something here that's obstructing it. And if you look at the line of sight, you can see now these trees are blocking, so I can't see right here, this part of the building. But I can see this part, again, right here. Right? I can see that part of the building. So I know I'm looking across this. It looks short, but that's because it's twice as far away as it used to be, right? Remember, same picture, but I'm twice as far away here. Looking through the telescope, again, sorry I took so many pictures and trying to document where I really was. Went, trying to find the 11 miles away. There we go. 3 feet, 11.15 miles, 54 feet. Is again from there to there. And that's what I see through the telescope. Again, there's the roof of the building over here. Here's the tower. Trees are blocking this side of the roof. Can't really see it. Okay. But that, I should be able to see the very tip top of the green. And actually, would I be able to even tell this from the trees? I mean, my horizon line should be way up here. This is where my horizon line really should be, at 11 miles away. And it's not. You can clearly see the entire thing. You can clearly see this other part of the building right here. This half of the building here. I don't even know what to say anymore about this. All I can say, here's just kind of proof looking through the telescope. It's really hard to get it lined up perfectly, but you can see that's what I'm looking through, and I just take some snapshots as I'm doing that. You can see that building right there. Again, building right over here. I know it's hard to see and I know it's blurry, but it's a lot clearer through my telescope looking through my naked eye rather than looking through the phone. Well, I need to get better setup. But this is just to show you where I was. This is how I have it set up. Again, 3 feet off the water. I should not be able to see that at all, because 3 feet off the water at 11 miles is 54 feet. I should not be able to see that building whatsoever. And I can. So, when people tell you that you can see, or that something goes behind the curve of the earth at 6 feet, just let them know I have seen stuff personally beyond 11 miles. 54 feet of a drop, and I can see the whole thing. Tells me my observations. It's flat. It's more flat than it is round. The calculation of how big it is and everything, it's not correct. These are the pictures that prove it. I'm going to make one more quick video that kind of shows a mirage. Maybe I can just do it here real quick. So I was taking some other pictures of, let's see if I can find it. Oh, this is through the Panasonic. Again, just zooming in on the top of my telescope. It's really hard to see zoomed in that far. But again, so all 3 pictures, I see the same, or all 3 cameras, I see the same thing. That's all that is here. So this is a mirage. I'm just driving down the road, taking a picture. Pretty flat road. It's not completely flat, but it's pretty flat. But you can see we've got some sort of vehicle back here, yellow vehicle that's kind of being cut off. And seeing this mirage down here. A lot of people call this a refraction. I don't get how a refraction can bend light and keep it the same, or flip it upside down. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around that. It doesn't make sense to me. To me, a mirage is a reflection, not a refraction, because it's flipping it upside down, right? But anyway, you see this car here driving. It's staying the same distance away from me because I'm driving along the road. But these ones are going to come closer, right? So as I get closer, oh, now you can tell what kind of vehicle it is. It's a Jeep. You see the wheels, and you can still see the mirage down here. They're kind of in the mirage on top of it, right? So the mirage is somewhere in here. You can see now the mirage over here is starting to appear on this car, right? Still driving down the same road. And all of a sudden, so these came out of the mirage. They're getting closer to me. This one's still staying the same distance away. But now all of a sudden the car is literally disappearing into the mirage. It's not going over a hill, it's not doing anything. This is still flat, it's just disappearing into the mirage. And that's what we're seeing over the lake. It's disappearing into the mirage. This is not 3 miles away from me, absolutely not. This is not even a mile away from me. But I'm seeing this mirage, and it's blocking half of this car. Right? The car is sinking into the mirage. It's not sinking over a curve. It's being blocked by this mirage, this reflection of light. I don't know how mirages totally, completely work. I'm still trying to figure that out, because that is what, you can see this line right here. This is what they'd say the horizon is when you see a mirage blocking stuff way out over the ocean or over a lake or whatever it is. Well, you're seeing the same thing over a road. The road still goes straight, and then it turns and goes this way before you get to this building. But here's this line right here that comes in. And if you notice, the line kind of drops as it gets closer. Okay? But now this car is sinking into a mirage. It is not going down. I don't know if I took another picture after that. I didn't. But it is not going down over a curve of this road. This road is just keep going, and then it turns. You can just see that how it's sinking into the mirage. Okay, because here's this car. They're literally the same height. There's a van. I don't know where that van goes. Maybe it's over here. But the car just sinks into the mirage. And that's what we're seeing when we're looking at this. The building is just sinking into the mirage. It has nothing to do with the curvature. It has nothing to do with curvature of the earth and the building being lower than that horizon line. It has nothing to do with it, because later on, what do you see? You see this. The mirage disappeared, and you can see the whole thing. Anyway, this is much longer than I hoped it would be. I hope I kept your attention. Hope I brought some things to light. Things that you can actually see from further away than even some people out there are telling us we should be able to see, even though they're wrong and they did their calculations wrong. Anyway, comment, do whatever. Go do these tests for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go make these observations for yourself. Find a lake. See if you can observe the curve of the Earth. See if you can observe the flatness of the Earth. See what you can find yourself. Don't believe what people tell you. Look into it yourself. And I hope to make some more videos. I do want to make another video where I can see a train that I shouldn't be able to see at all. I will get into that one as well. So stay tuned for that one. And good luck. Seek the truth. See what you can find yourself. Make your own observations. And don't believe everything that the mass media, that the higher-ups are telling us. It ain't true.